reporting the protest as media. Nothing wrong with that. It's built into our Constitution, and we just got that taken away with the Public Order Protection Act.
The prison conditions were inhumane and unnecessarily abusive. There were no doors in the toilets, and most of the guards were male. We were handcuffed the entire time we were in the prison. This was not by accident. It was set up purposely to create a system of psychological violence, and against men and women too, though the men and women experienced it a little differently. The place was cold, there was no place to sit or lie, and if women did act out, they were threatened with internal searches and gang rape. I work on violence against women in war and war rape, and threatening a woman with rape or gang rape is not a joke, and it's not funny. And the police were doing this, and this was used as a way to systematically silence women who were speaking out.
This draconian stuff that they passed under secret, we gotta be more vigilant about, because when we don't, this is what happens. So an educated population is kind of what we need right now. So if you see this makes you mad, do your own research and wake up, please.
As we exited, there was a group of people on the other side of the road. These people were looking after the people who just got out of jail. With food, water, rides to wherever you wanted to go, legal advice, you name it, they helped you out. Thank you.
We are very, very thankful. They actually drove us to our car, which was very nice because we had no idea where we were. And basically they said that the only payment that they wanted in return, the only thing they wanted us to do in return was to tell people about what happened to us and what really happened at G20 Toronto.
It's not an experience that I want to repeat, but it's not going to deter me from coming out the next time to peacefully protest and make my voice heard.
As you can hear, and as I will show, there's a big group of people now directly in front of the police headquarters. If you believe the Toronto police behaved shamefully, say yeah! Not every Toronto police officer is a bad person. Some of them, underneath the robot uniforms, are actual human beings with feelings as well. I know this because a few of them were nice to me over the last 2 days. I wish the good ones within the Toronto Police Department could actually inspire the other ones to be nice as well. There are still good cops left. It's time for them to raise their heads and start saying something.
We are friendly.
Yeah, well, you are. Thank you.
It's knowledge, right? It's power. That's right. We should all have it. Yeah.
Sergeant, I'd like to lend you the megaphone to give a police statement.
No, thank you.
You sure?
Yeah.
I think your voice would come out very well.
No, thanks.
We're the same, we're human beings. When you take off that uniform, you and I, we're the same.
We have a common enemy, and if it's one thing I could leave you with, remember, once they're done with us, and they've gotten you guys to do the work for them, what do you think they're going to do to you? So I just ask you, officers of Toronto, what is more important to you? Morals and ethics, or pleasing the powers that are acting in such a corrupt way? I could leave that for you to decide.
I know you're doing your job, but at the same time, like, when is it going to be a revolution of all? You know, like, come on, we're all just humans. If you're doing something that's immoral in your life, that maybe you should consider a new occupation.
Be the one to make that change. Out the criminal activity or the criminal behavior and the abuse of power that you see and know, you know. Find a different job. what you're doing is not going to benefit your children or my children in the long run.
If you're a police officer, that doesn't mean you're above the law. If anything, you have to, as an enforcer of the law, you have to be, extra vigilant to make sure that you don't do anything illegal.
Your police vehicles say to protect and serve, and ours at home in our hometown say people helping people. I only saw people helping corporations and people helping shady governments.
All we ask is in the next few years, as we enter this crazy, paranoid terrorism world, that you please, as brothers and sisters of ours, please question your orders. Please think about what the governments and the international bankers are asking you guys to do, because you're increasingly being asked to control us, just normal, peaceful members of the public. And it's not a Canadian problem, it's not an American problem, it's a world problem. And the true criminals are the G20 delegates and the international bankers which control them, fund them, and install them as puppets as the leaders of our states. So, just to end, it's a message of peace and understanding. I'm from London, in England, and we have the exact same problems we have here. Why did the G20 decide to host itself in the middle of a major city for the need for this totalitarian clampdown? So all the best, guys. We hope the day pans out peacefully for you guys as well. And we're at it here, so take care.
Charlie, tell us what happened to you when you showed up to the Toronto airport to try to go home.
Yeah, yesterday at 4 p.m. I was at the airport queuing at check-in on the Air Transat flight to go back to London, as I was obviously booked to do. And then at Toronto Pearson Airport, I noticed 3 policemen pointed at me from quite far back, and then they came running in and grabbed me and said that they had a warrant for my arrest. I said, no, you have it all wrong. I've already been arrested. I've got my papers. I'm flying out now. What are you doing? This is crazy.
Yes, good morning. This is a message for Charlie Veitch. It's Detective Sergeant Frank Skubik calling from the Toronto Police. It's now Tuesday morning at about 9:40 a.m. Mr. Veitch, the reason I'm calling is to inform you that a Justice of the Peace has issued a warrant for your arrest for the offense of personating a peace officer. If you can call me at 416-808-7399 as soon as possible, we can make arrangements for you to have yourself surrender yourself and be processed on this charge.
So they cuffed me and dragged me out in front of thousands of people at the airport, and the charge was impersonating a police officer from the first day filming I did with you, Dan.
Hi, do you have some kind of certification for that?
Yeah, we're from British Military Intelligence. I'm here with the Metropolitan Police, as you can see, so it's all fully authorised at the highest levels.
Anytime someone impersonates themselves as a police officer is a serious offence. We take it very seriously. This entire incident we're taking extremely serious. As a result, the man was arrested and he will be facing charges.
It seems ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. There's Canadian case law from courts that say it is a crime to attempt to impersonate a peace officer. You can't pretend to be a downtown Toronto Police Intelligence officer. But the law is that you can impersonate all the foreign legal officers, foreign peace officers you want.
Yeah, we're from British Military Intelligence. I'm here with the Metropolitan Police.
You can, according to the case law, pretend to be a U.S. Marshal from Texas, but you can't do that by pretending to be a member of military intelligence. That's not an offense in Canada.
Veitch was released on $500 bail. His next court appearance is August 23rd.
Out of my 6 days in Toronto for my time here with my filmmaker friends, I spent 48 hours in incarceration.
I've dealt with police all around the world, and the States, and Europe, and Britain, but there's something strange. I don't see the kind of workings of such a peaceful and friendly and amazing people as the Canadians and their police force. Maybe it is just because of the G20 in town, but your police force is extremely draconian, and the criminal justice system treats you guilty until you're proven innocent. And I really felt that, and it just really tore a hole in my happiness for a total of 48 hours to be in incarceration for having committed no crimes. I didn't impersonate a police officer, and I didn't refuse to give ID to a policeman under a fake law, which now turns out wasn't brought in, wasn't enacted.
What is our child going to have if this is what happens to civil rights in a weekend in our country? And I turned to my husband and I said, there has to be a way to mobilize. The media is not taking care of this. What can we do? And he opened up Facebook and he started a Facebook group. The next day when I woke up, we had about 5,000 members. Within 24 hours, we had over 10,000. We're now at almost 70,000 members. So I knew immediately I wasn't alone, that just as many people felt like I did, and that this wasn't going to go away, and I was going to make sure with every ounce of my power that this didn't just go away and get swept under the rug. Human rights are absolute, just like civil liberties are absolute, and our Charter of Rights and Freedoms is absolute. You get those rights because you're born, that's it. There's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely no debate about it.
All tyranny needs to put a foothold in a country is for the good conscience people to stay silent. Well, we will not remain silent, and we will soon not forget what happened here in Toronto. We will continue to band together. We need to show them that the people and our message will not be delegitimized by political spin. We need to show them that we cannot be intimidated by their threats or slander. Show them that we are not allowing them to criminalize dissent.
There's a lot that went down that the general public isn't aware of, and that's the major factor that needs to be addressed. People need to know what's happening.
Thankfully, in this day and age, we are all public media. We can all raise our voices, and that's what we need to do. The people united! The people united!
Peaceful dissent is a part of democracy just as much as casting a ballot. I hope that that more politicians will kind of get on board with the idea that something outside of the police investigating themselves needs to come out of this, like a real inquiry that has, again, what I said, is real teeth to it, something that has actual power, that has subpoena power, that has the power to really question the police and look at their tactics, not just at the G20, but in general, because I think there's a larger subtext of a pattern of police aggression against peaceful people.
We're not going to get a true independent inquiry without that subpoena power because they lie, people lie.
We don't know who gave the orders, a multi-jurisdictional setup, like who knows who was actually in charge. The ISU, the RCMP is supposed to be in charge of the ISU, but who was giving the RCMP orders? And are the RCMP giving municipal and like Toronto Police and Peel Police, are they giving them their orders? Like who is actually accountable?
And what we've seen here is a picture of the police state to come. What happens when you give the police unlimited budgets? All the men they want, all the toys they want, all the machinery they want, and the right to control huge swaths of the city. That's the police state that's going to come if we give them the money to do it. Watch out for this police state. It really will come with money. And there's nothing to stop it, because those values of liberty and freedom and democracy are not cherished by the police department.
Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Our streets!
Whether you're a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, or a police officer, your job is to help people, not to make their lives worse, not to abuse them, not to manipulate them, not to coerce them. So when you act in a way that is abusive to others, to your fellow citizens, and then say, I was just following orders, you're not the victim. You're actually at fault for not taking a stand for what you made an oath to do when you decided to take on that occupation.
There seems to be a rift amongst Canadians. Anti-police, anti-protester. I don't believe you anarchist hippie liars. Damn you fascist pigs. We can't fight each other. We can't be anti this or anti that. There's one thing we all need to be. The people down here